I have some of the new Derwent Inktense colors, and I'm ready to play. This video is not sponsored by any of the companies mentioned. Hi, Shanna Rowe Jackson here from Caution Artists at Play, and today I'm going to be playing with some of the new Derwent Inktense colors. I only have 11 of them. I decided not to get all 28 because I just grabbed the ones that were most light fast and that interested me the most. I might get some of the others down the line because I don't typically sell my work that's done with Inktense anyways, but for now, I'm pretty excited with the selection that I have. So let's take a closer look at the colors. I actually already have them swatched out because I swatched them out in my art haul video where I first got these. And so let's take a look at what we have. Golden Sun, Jungle Green, Sea Breeze, Mineral Blue, Dark Cerulean, Denim, Nightshade, Burnt Umber, Natural Brown, Asphalt, and Storm Dust. And so, as you can see, I've got some nice greens and blues, a nice beautiful yellow. I'm really excited about the fact that they have more browns and grays now, because that was something that I always thought was lacking in the Inktense line. So these are the colors I'm going to be working with today. I thought it'd be like a fun challenge for me to only use these colors. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to do today. I think I'm going to do just a small piece. I think it's going to be a nice little painting of a violet that my husband got me that he put in my palette garden. And so, yeah, we're going to get to that. So stay tuned for that fun. Okay, so I'm going to be just doing a quick little project today. This took me between maybe an hour and a half at most. And basically, I was just doing this to feel out the colors of these pencils. I am very familiar with Inktense as a medium, as a whole. This is definitely not my best work that I've done with Inktense, but it was a great way for me to get to know these specific colors. And if you are unfamiliar with Inktense, basically these are like watercolor pencils, but on steroids. They are different from other water-soluble pencils in the fact that they have an ink-like consistency and they're a little bit more permanent, so it makes it easier to layer them. They're not as easy to lift once you have washed them out completely. While the color hasn't been washed out completely, you can spread the color around a lot more and it will lift a little bit more, but if you have fully saturated the color and washed it out, it makes it a little bit more difficult to lift and to remove. And so they're great to layer over. They're also really vibrant and they have a lot of color payout. And so they're really enjoyable to work with. If you would like to know more about Inktense, I do have a full playlist about Inktense because this is one of my favorite products by Derwent, and so I have worked with it a lot. And so I will link that playlist at the end screen and in the description below if you are interested in watching more videos from me about Inktense. So for this project, I just did a quick preliminary sketch. I am using the Fluid 100 hot press watercolor paper. It's just a small block. I think it's like a 6x8. And I used a big mechanical pencil to do a preliminary sketch. And then I'm just kind of working in the background first. And the background had some mulch and some leaves and some other blurred out flowers. And so I'm concentrating on that. Thankfully, this has a lot of browns and grays and greens, but I also had some blues that I used in a way to try and push back certain greens and things like that. So I was able to actually use all of these colors. And so that was pretty exciting because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to, just because the reference picture that I was using obviously didn't have a lot of blues in particular, but I did find a way to make it work in the shadow areas. And so that definitely gave me an idea of how well those layered and mixed with other colors. I also have a paper plate off to the side that I'm kind of scribbling on to lift. I know it's my bougie palette. I am just such a high-end broad over here with my paper plate and my Q-tips because you know how I roll, you know, I have to be bougie. But I was actually feeling a little under the weather that day, and so I didn't make it to the studio. I just sat at my coffee table and relaxed and just watched some Netflix, and this was a good project for that, and it was a great way to get to know my new Inktense colors. And so, yeah, I didn't have all my materials at hand. And so sometimes you're going to see me just color on the paper plate and lift the color and bring it over like a watercolor. Other times you'll see me coloring directly on the paper and then washing it out after. It just really depends on how vibrant I want the color. And Also, how I wanted to layer things as well, because sometimes I was glazing and other times I was kind of mixing two colors directly on my paper plate palette and bringing it over that way. And I didn't want the leaves or anything to be too detailed. Again, this is not going to be a highly detailed piece. I was under the weather. I just wanted to play. I did not anticipate this being any sort of masterpiece, but all in all, I was actually pretty happy with how it came out. Given the amount of time it took, it really wasn't that bad, and Inktense tends to be a fast medium anyway. And typically, I like to go over it because these are pencils. I do like to go through and do washes first and then come back on top with my pencils for details after and not wash them out because they work really well as just a regular colored pencil as well. And so don't be afraid to do that. I think a lot of people, when they have any sort of water-soluble pencil, feel like they have to wash it out every time. No, use every single aspect of that product to your advantage. It has a fine point for a reason. And so you can use it for details. Again, I don't get too picky about it here, but I, in the past, have been able to do some really realistic pieces with Inktense. And so you can get really, really detailed with these pencils. And so don't be afraid to do that. You don't always have to wash out your water-soluble products. Again, you want to be careful at how you're layering though, because if you do have something that you want to keep as a really strong, hard edge or something, you may want to wait until you're done washing out other layers to put that in, because obviously it could wash out without you meaning for it to if you put it down too early in the piece. So just keep that in mind when you're working with Inktense or any other water-soluble medium. If you want something to be permanent, that's probably going to have to go in last. So you kind of got to plan out your layering that way. Of course, you can always come back in and make corrections after if you accidentally, go over something with water and it smudges out. You can clean it up after. And to a degree, these can be erased after with a regular eraser once they're completely dry. You don't want to damage the paper, so you want to be careful that way. This was so much fun. I really, really love that yellow and the purple. This was one of the, I actually had just taken this photo probably after I got these pencils, because my husband just got me this flower. And so it's kind of funny because I always take photos of my new flowers and things like that so I can have them just in case. And then when I was looking at the colors, I'm like, oh, I just got that purple and yellow flower. I have reference photos of that. And so it ended up being perfect because purple and yellow are contrasting colors. They're opposite each other on the color wheel. So that always makes for a dynamic subject to begin with. And the fact that two of my kind of outlier colors, most of the colors that I bought were greens, browns, or blues. My two outlying colors were purple and yellow. It just ended up working out perfectly. And when I am shading the petals, I am looking at the direction of the veins in the petals. So even before I washed it out, I was using my pencil strokes to go in the direction of that petal. And that helps a lot when it comes to creating form. Even in this where I'm not getting too picky about the shading, I wanted to make sure the details on the shading I was doing were going in the correct direction for the petals. And so keep an eye on that, because a lot of times they come out from the middle and then they spur outwards, but then they might curl, like the veins and the little creases in the petals might curl in different directions depending on different wrinkles and things like that in the petal. So just keep an eye on that whenever you are creating a flower. And of course, the same would go for if you're creating fur in an animal or feather patterns in a bird or something like that, scales on a reptile, things like that. You just always kind of pay attention to the direction, even if you're working on a quick piece like this where it's just fun and playful and you're not going for the most detailed work that you might do. And this actually ended up being a little more detailed than I planned, and so I was kind of happy with that, I guess, after. I went into it with very low expectations because, again, I wasn't feeling very well that day. And I just wanted to play, and I just wanted to know these new colors. And I can't wait to incorporate these colors in the rest of my Inktense works. And I was really pleased with the fact that I was able to complete this artwork using just these 11 colors. It just goes to show you don't need a ton of colors to complete an artwork. And overall, I am really happy with the colors that I chose, and I'm really excited that Derwent had come out with some new colors. Okay, I think I am going to call this one done. I had so much fun playing with these new Derwent Inktense colors. As I mentioned, I just got 11 colors, but this was a lot of fun. I was able to use each of these colors in this piece, and it was a great challenge to just use a limited color palette and have a good time. I am especially in love with the Golden Sun color and the Nightshade color, that beautiful purple, which I knew I was going to love because I had that from the Derwent Lightfast line, and so I was stoked when they came out with this color. And yeah, so this was just a blast, and it was a great way to spend the afternoon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. I will see you next week. You have a great day. Bye. Wait, don't go away just yet. If you liked this video, you're sure to like this one too. Also, don't forget to hit subscribe.